I can guarantee we don't share the same thoughts or opinions. Hi, my name is Kendra Freed. I'm an avid book reader and lover, and I got conned, tricked, and duped to read Fourth Wing. This blew up huge on TikTok. I got this before the hype. I follow a girl on TikTok and she recommended this book, so I saved it. I went to Barnes & Noble, and I want to say April, and I saw this laying on a table. There was a lot of them there at the table, and I'm like, I don't know, but the whole reason why I bought this book is for the sprayed edges. This is a first edition, which I didn't realize this was a hot commodity when I bought it. It's been sitting on my shelf since April. I finished it last month after I finished my reread of Throne of Glass for CC3. I decided, you know what, I'm going to read it because everyone's talking about this. The problem I have is most hyped up books, when I read them, are overhyped. I can't find a book where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Booktok, for recommending this. It hasn't happened. Well, maybe with ACOTAR, but besides that, everything is just like underwhelming or just why. We're going to go into an in-depth full summary of this book, my thoughts and feelings. So spoiler alert, moving on through the rest of the video. So the story starts off with a small meek girl who can't do parkour, but meets a hot older boy that tells her that she needs to be smart. She needs to outwit her opponent. She needs to be fast and quick, and the right way isn't the only way. And because she's so small and so smart, she gets herself her own bully. And the bully decides to team up with people that she thought was her friends to try and kill her. But then the hot older boy saves the day. Oh, wait a minute. That's divergent. What I meant to say is this story is about a smart, clever, witty girl who has been sheltered her entire life until she meets a mysterious bad boy who comes and who at first was originally going to try and kill her, but he realizes how smart and clever she was. So instead, he secretly falls in love with her and then tries to show her all the real dangers outside the world. But she falls in love with him too, but then she realizes that he is the leader of the revolution and his real name's not actually his name. Oh wait, I got that mixed up with Blood and Ash, because that's what these two books are. To take those two books, you have this book. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't believing that when I read this book, I wasn't like, I've read this before. I kept saying like, this is Divergent with cussing and sex. This is the exact, I don't understand. Like, it's the same plot point. And then you have From Blood and Ash in there too, and it's the same books to me, just married together, throw in, you know, this, oh, and dragons in school. So you can even say this Harry Potter at some point in this, and that's what I didn't like. It was too overhyped for storylines that we've all read and understand the tropes. And I know there's tropes like enemy, celebrity, which guess what? Isn't here. But like there's tropes and then there's just copy and paste and change a couple of names. That's to me is what happened in this book. So let's start with the real storyline. Fourth Wing starts with a girl named Violet. She is small and she has some type of disease that makes her really, really fragile. And her mother is the head general of their army, in their military, in their realm. And Violet, her entire life, is supposed to become a librarian, but her mom's like, nope, you're going to become a dragon rider, which makes no sense because literally Violet's entire life she's been trained to become, so they call it a scribe, which is a librarian. She's supposed to go to library school, and her father was her biggest mentor and her best friend, and she learned everything through him. He dies, and then 6 months before she's supposed to start dragon school, her mom's like, guess what? You have to become a writer now because no child of mine can become a scribe. Even though before her husband died, she was going to become a scribe. Does that make sense to you? Are we all on the same page of why this doesn't make sense? Okay, we're on the same page. Violet starts dragon school. The first way to get into dragon school is she has to go through this tiny, narrow brick bridge with no railing. She has to walk from one building up to another building. When she's there, she meets Xaden. Xaden's mysterious, hot, bad boy, but he's not too mysterious because we know that he is the son of the past revolution. His dad was the leader of the revolution. He got caught and he got killed. Here's the thing. His dad killed Violet's brother. Violet's mom, the military general that she is, came and killed Xaden's dad. So it's an eye for an eye. Everyone's killed someone from their family. They don't like each other because obviously your dad killed my brother, your mom killed my dad. Are we all on the same page? So they killed an eye for an eye. They've killed someone from each other's family. In this realm, there's a king who we meet once and they only talk about twice. I don't even know this king's name. He wasn't even important. The king comes out and says, we're going to kill everyone who's a part of this revolution. And as an extra punishment, we're going to send the kids of the revolution people, we're going to send them to dragon school because it's better than just outright killing them. Doesn't make sense. Why would you take your enemy's kids and then put them into your military? Why would be like, hey, you know what we should do? I know your parents are probably ingrained that we're the bad guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a dragon. And then after we give you a dragon, we want you to be loyal to us, even though the dragons aren't loyal to us. We need you and your dragon to be like, this doesn't make sense. Why would you take your enemy's kids and put them in our armies? Like, here you go. Here are some guns. Here are some explosives. Stay loyal to us. You know what I mean? Am I only the only one that didn't understand this premise? Anyway, back to the story. She makes it across the bridge and where she meets her old childhood friend. He's a year older than her, so he's been in dragon school for a full year. And he is freaking out because just imagine Tamlin. Just imagine how Tamlin would freak out. He wants her to run away. He's trying to find her exits. He's trying to find ways to bribe people to take her out. He's telling her, don't speak up, don't talk, don't outshine people. Just do what you're told, just be quiet, and hopefully we can just get you through this. And at first she's like, why would I want to do this? I have to go. And she's trying to explain to him, if I try to escape, my mom will drag me back here. If I try to bribe someone to help me escape, my mom will kill that person and then still bring me back to dragon school. There is no library school. I have to go to dragon school. And he just will not accept this. And he's trying to still find ways to a point where she has to explode at him. Thank God, because this guy is terrible. In the description, he sounds gorgeous, and everyone has the hots for him because everyone thinks that he's cute, and he plays the boy next door so well. But he's Tamlin. He's 100% Tamlin, which is another little thing we just decided to cut and paste from Akatar and put into this book. When Violet meets the guy next door, his name is Dane, her childhood sweetheart. They never do anything. They're just best friends, but they've always been like on that borderline that they want to do something more, but they don't want to ruin the friendship. His name is Dane. And we find out he's a squad leader, and Zane, the hot bad boy, he is a wing leader. And they try to explain how this military works. And I need you guys to dumb it down for me so maybe I can understand it. So there are 4 wings. First, second, third, and fourth, okay? Each wing has a section: flame, tail, and talons. In each section, there are 3 squads. There are 3 squads, and it goes first, second, and third. That part makes sense. The part that doesn't make sense is why would you have a flame, tail, and talon section, but don't put any emphasis or specialize those sections? In my mind, if someone's like, oh, I'm part of the flame squad, that means my dragon has more fire ability, has stronger fire, has specialized blue power that actually means it freezes things. Like, I feel like if you were in the flame division, that would mean that your dragon has some type of extra flame ability over all of the dragons. And then if you're in the talon division, that makes me think of talons are good for grabbing things and dropping things off. So they're good at snatching guys from the building. They're good at dropping supplies. They're good at saving people when they fall off of dragons. Their talons, what I would feel like would be emphasis on those dragons' talons. And then you have tails, which I feel like would have some type of mace on the tails or a special type of spikes or even poison spikes, or they can put on special attachments to the tails to make them fly faster, or they can, I don't know, put helicopter blades on it, slice some people. That to me is what would make sense, but they never really explain what's the difference between flame, tail, and talon. they just make it like that's just the name. And to me, that doesn't make sense. But, you know, please, if someone can actually like dumb it down for me and explain it, that'd be so much better, because it doesn't make sense to me. Okay? It doesn't make any sense to me. Back to this. Violet is going to be under Dane's squad, but Xaden wants her to be part of his wing. So then they move all of Dane's people to Xaden's wing. So now he's in the command, and then Dane, and then Violet. And Violet knows that she's small and tiny and she can't put up a fight, so she knows that she needs to outsmart her opponent. So when she does is she poisons people, and she takes breakfast duty, because you have to take duties along with your training to like help out, make things flow right, which makes sense. And she does breakfast duty, and doing breakfast duty, when she knows she has to fight an opponent, she puts some type of poison in there, not to kill them, but to like make them throw up, make them feel sick, make their vision blurry. And at first I thought that was smart, but she did it to every opponent she fought. This is military school. Like, this is what they go to do and specialize on how to infiltrate and take down enemies. Why has no one besides Xaden who caught on that only the people she was fighting was getting poisoned? She wasn't poisoning a whole batch of fruit, so like it's just a mixed bag that everyone like got sick, or did a whole batch of chicken or something. She just poisoned the one person. And the fact that the military school just like, oh, that sucks, I'm sorry you have an upset stomach. Like, this doesn't sound like a capable already military or anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did no one catch on to that? But, you know, what do I know? Xaden does catch on to it and pulls her aside. Actually, he beats the hell out of her a little bit. And then he says, hey, if you're going to be here long, you can't poison everyone you meet. You actually have to learn core skills, build up your muscles, learn how to fight an opponent. So she does spend some time and learn to build up her muscles and her core, and she does start lifting weights and doing more training, so she does become more proficient at fighting. This causes some tension with her bully. I mentioned a bully earlier. His name is Jack. Jack does not like her because she is small, and he thinks because she is small, she is the weakest. And if she is the weakest, she'll bring down the whole army, so he wants to kill her. But then he also finds out that she's incredibly smart. And so that's another reason to hate her, because he has a small dick, and he doesn't like smart women. So on the day that they're supposed to go meet the dragons, they find a small dragon, and he feels the same way about the small golden dragon, that you can't have a small dragon because it's a sign of weakness, and if a human can kill it, then a dragon could kill it easily, an enemy could kill it easily. There's no point of it. But Violet decides to go save this small dragon because Jack and a bandit of people, including one of her friends, go and try and kill this small dragon when it's dragon choosing day. And by dragon choosing day, I mean the dragons choose you. And she stops in between these three boys who are trying to kill the dragon, and she says, you can't do this. And he's like, you're weak. This dragon's weak. Of course you would defend the weak. And she's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to kill you. I'm going to have to fight to the death. But Zaddy Zane, shows up and sees all of this, but he can't interfere because technically he's upper management, and he can't interfere with their fighting. And so he stands and watches it, but you can see that he keeps kind of like jerking, like he wants to help her, but like he has to like... But then out of nowhere, this big bad dragon, the biggest and the baddest of all of the dragons, show up. And I call him Tyrion. I don't know if that's actually his name because I butcher names. So since I've been calling him Tyrion. And Tyrion comes and kills a couple of the boys. And Tyrion, this big bad dragon, chooses this tiny, meek little girl. And he said, you defended the golden one. I am now your dragon. And then the golden one goes, guess what? I am also your dragon. And that's never been heard of. Having two dragons for one rider has never been heard of, let alone this big bad dragon who has had one rider ever. He doesn't like people. He doesn't want a rider, but he was defending this little golden one, and he saw the merit and good heart of Violet and said, like, if you're willing to like put your life out for a dragon you've never met and the smallest dragon, that I choose to be my rider, which I think is beautiful. But we all saw it a mile, like we all saw this, right? Like I saw this when Jack was like, oh, there's a big bad dragon. That's the one I want. I'm like, Violet's going to get him. Violet's going to get this one. we can just skip ahead. Violet's going to pick out this dragon and they're going to become best friends. But because she is small and this dragon's so big, she has a hard time climbing up the dragon. And once dragons choose you, you become bonded and you can talk telepathically. Here's the thing. Her dragon is mated and in love with another dragon. That dragon's rider is Xaden. So now, because they are linked by these two dragons, they can now talk telepathically. How does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? I want to see the connection. Like, I can kind of see it, but to me, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me if the two dragons, because they're bonded, can talk to one person. But to have all four of them and even a little side-on link with the golden one, to me doesn't, but you know, whatever. That's fine. Now, because they're all linked and connected, they are now bonded, all of them, which means if one of them dies, pick one, I don't care which one, a dragon or a rider out of this love's four dies, they all die. And Xaden takes this very seriously. He makes sure he get her, oh my gosh, I was gonna call her Elizabeth. Xaden takes this very seriously. He gives Violet a special saddle. He ensures a bodyguard on her because now that she's bonded with the big bad dragon, everyone wants that dragon because they're saying, oh, if he's willing to bond with someone, I'm gonna kill her to show this dragon I'm big and bad too, and he's gonna want to bond with me. That's not the case. Doesn't matter. So because of this, her bully Jack decides to gang up and grab some people to break into her room in the middle of the night. And one of those people is another wing leader that does not like Violet. And when she wakes up, she sees like 6, 7 people in her room. And one of them, the other wing leader, runs off. She's like, I ain't gonna be a part of this cabal. That's y'all. I'm out. She dips out and Jack's like, I'm sorry, but we have to kill you. You've been in the way. You're just a nuisance. We're gonna kill you. Sucks to suck. And time stops. And we find out that the little golden dragon has time stopping abilities and can control time. Here's the dumb part. She's able to control time, and the little golden dragon in her mind is screaming at Violet like, you gotta go, get out of the room, leave. She's like, what are you talking about? You can stop time? What? And she only takes a few steps and then time stops and then she still gets caught. She still gets caught. She could have literally ran out of the room and started banging on doors for help, but instead she just, what? You can stop time? Let's talk about it. Run, get the fuck out of the room. She gets caught by Jack, and it wasn't Jack. It was someone else. She gets caught, but of course, Daddy Zane shows up and he snaps necks of all these people. And he's like, tell me what you saw, what happened. And she tells him that this wing leader was also in on it and she ran away. So Daddy Zane, who we love, makes a public scene about, like, last night one of my people was attacked. It was attacked by 7 people led by this person, and also your wing leader, she was a part of it too. Fast, we gotta cut back now to Dane, the childhood sweetheart who is in love with her, and throughout this entire time keeps cupping her face. And we find out that his special ability, because once you bond with a dragon, they can give you power. That power then siphons into your own, the power siphons into you and it turns you into your own special, unique ability. Some people control weather, some people can shoot fire, some people can read minds, and that's the case with Dane. He can touch your face. Well, he says in the book, he says, I can touch your temples and I can read your most recent memories. So throughout this book, when he meets up with her, he keeps cupping her face or like grabbing her chin to like pull her up to look in her eyes. And so because the author keeps saying things like, he touched my cheeks, he grabbed my chin, he touched my wrist. I thought he's not reading her mind because he didn't say temple, or like he didn't grab, like, to me, that's what I thought. Dane loses his mind and goes, who's calling out these accusations? Who actually, and Zane goes, your girl Violet was attacked last night by this head bitch right here. It's against all the rules. She's got to go. We got to vote. And Dane makes a public, huge announcement. Goes, she's a liar. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Violet, I need you to go up there and fix things. And she's like, I'm not doing that. He pulls out his hands, goes, show me your memories then. If you're not lying, show me your memories then. And she's like, I ain't fucking telling you shit. I ain't telling you anything. You don't own me. I don't answer to you. I ain't telling you shit. So she then shows the images to the dragon. Her dragon shows images to everyone to prove she's not lying. This girl actually did something, and then she got got. Cut to like in the next afternoon. Dane's pissed. How come you'll show your dragon but not me? And she says, suck a dick and die. I don't have to tell you shit. To his face. I was so happy because most time these girls, when you read these books, don't have to like, I don't know. I just know. She's like, I don't care. I'm to show you anything. I'm cutting the dead weight, and the dead weight is you. I'm sorry, sucks to suck. And I was very proud. One of the things I like about Violet is she's very decisive. And these girls who I read are not decisive. They need time to think about their feelings. They need time to think about why am I attracted to them. She knew instantly she was attracted to Xaden. She saw the sexual tension that they had, and she knew it instantly. She knew she was attracted to him. She was always open about what she wanted in their relationship. And that's something that I liked about her, is she was very decisive. One of the things that I didn't like about this book is the choppiness. The writing was really choppy, and there's time jumps, and I hate time jumps. And I know time jumps can absolutely be necessary, but what I'm talking about is they'll have this big major moment, like chapter ending major, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? The next chapter is, it's been 2 months since we kissed and I haven't. Like, what? 2 months? 2 months. If there's a couple of chapters like November went by in a blur, December went by in a blur, and nothing happened in January. Now we're in Feb. Like, what are you talking about? You're gonna what? We're sitting with sexual tension with this boy. No one's tried to kill you within these 3 months time, and now all of a sudden some stuff's going on. I hate time jumps so much. I feel like it's just lazy writing. They have nothing else to write about, so let's just skip some months, and then we're gonna act like everything's fine. Is that I can't be the only person that doesn't agree with time jumps like that. Another thing that I didn't like is this book didn't lay out the agenda of all the events that are supposed to happen in this book. So she's her first year at Dragon School. Cool. I would like if they were like, okay, we have the gauntlet, and then after the gauntlet, we're gonna have to do war games, and after war games, we're gonna do the squad games, and after the squad games, like, that's, to me, makes sense. But she had to like tackle, like, her first hurrah was the wall, was the bridge, and then she tackled it. Great. Then they're like, okay, now we got to prepare you for the gauntlet. And I thought the gauntlet was like the big like graduation thing. If you complete the gauntlet, like, hurrah, that's like the end of the year event. But then it shows up and it's gone. And you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, unannounced, never explained, you're like, okay, now we got to start preparing for the squad girls. Squad, what? The squad games. Like, whatever you mean. You've never mentioned this. So then they do it and then they're done. I'm like, okay. Oh, guess what? We have to now prepare for the war games. What war games? You never talked about war games. How am I supposed to prepare for something if we've never been established that, like, at the end of the year, our big hurrah is like the war games? That's something, to me, I don't feel like came across well with the readers, that there's going to be these major events, because I feel like a lot of times these books is you have to prepare for one big event. And that's like the final test, the final step, the final level, or some big fat, big duel or something. That's something you always prepared for. But I feel like we had all these things that showed up with no explanation how they work or why. To me, it didn't come off fluid, and for me to understand what was going out throughout the school year. So that's why I was confused. Like, I thought we just did a squad games. Why are we doing a war games? We just climbed up a gauntlet. Why are we like, what? That's just me though. This is me ranting about it. Anyway, back to the choppiness and the storyline. Months go by and Xaden doesn't want anything to do with this broad. He knows that they're connected, but he kind of doesn't want anything to do with her. But then all of a sudden he realizes, you know what? She keeps getting jumped and attacked. I should train her. So he does start spending time with her and training her physically and how to use weapons and how to take down opponents. And one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't coddle her. He's actually throwing her to the mat. He's actually beating her ass. And it's good because she's learning how to fight stronger men and how to do stronger opponents. She's building strength and core. And I appreciated that way more than fucking Dane telling her to go inside and read a book. So I'm very happy with that. Because of these slower months together, she starts to realize, I don't know a damn thing about this man. I don't know anything about him. I don't know. All I know is he's hot. That's all I know about him. But she then starts asking him stupid questions like, what's your favorite cake? Like, what is this? What are you going to bake him something? We're in dragon school. You think you got time to bake a cake? Is that something you got time to do? They slowly start coming to realize they have this attraction together, and they do hook up one time. I mean, they do hook up later. The first time they hook up is explosive. They're breaking windows, her lightning striking things. They finally hook up. And then after they hook up, she's like realizing again, she doesn't know anything about this man. So instead of asking him like, what are your hobbies? Do you have siblings? What did you used to do before you came to dragon school? Do you believe in the ideals of your father? She doesn't ask any of these important questions. She goes, hey, where do you go have your secret meetings? And he's like, okay, well, I don't want to tell you what about my secret meetings, but I will tell you a town, and it's in XYZ. And right after they hook up, she goes out in the hall. There's Dane, and he cups her cheeks, and he's like, I just want to say I'm sorry that I didn't believe in you. He's cupping her cheeks, stealing her fucking information and memories. And the best part is not only did he steal where the secret meeting was at, he just saw her get her back blown out. Her back blown out so hard by saying that she's shattering fucking walls. She's shattering windows. She had a good time, and that makes me happy. So through another choppy time jump, we are now with Zane. It is called, oh my gosh, it's some Memorial Day, and it's the day to commemorate when all of the revolution leaders and people anyone was in the revolution gets killed. And this is the only time we meet the king, and the king comes around and everyone's in their finery and drinking champagne. He's like, isn't it great we killed some of your scholars' parents? Isn't it great? Where is the young man who lost his parents to the war? I need to make sure I can see him because I can't see him all the time. And Zayden's not going to this event because obviously his parents got killed in this event. I wouldn't want to go to this event either. So she goes and finds him. She confesses she's attracted to him, and it's a sad day, and she understands because it's also the day her brother died by his dad, and they shouldn't spend it alone. They should spend it together. And so they hook up 5 times. Again, spice is great, but I'm not complaining about this book about the spice. It's the originality. That is my biggest complaint. So they hook up 5 times. They are on ride number 5. Literally ride number 5. They get a big bang on the door saying we're being attacked. They slap on some clothes. She happens to be slapping on his clothes. They go downstairs and they're like, congratulations, this is a fake test. We're so happy you respond so quickly. What we need you to do is hop on your dragons and everyone get into your positions because this is a part of the war games and you need to go to all these different locations with your squad. There's further instructions. And Dane's like, you're coming with me, Violet. And she's like, nah, I'm going with Zane. And Zane comes and goes, she's coming with me. Our dragons are bonded. I don't know how many days we're going to be apart. Our dragons need to be together. Plus she's got lightning. She's going to be on my team. And then Dane goes, dang, I really am going to miss you. I really enjoyed our time together, Violet. Goodbye. And she's like, it's a war game. Like, I'm going to be back. What do you mean you're going to miss me? They're supposed to go to this main location, but Zane decides to take a quick little pit stop where we find out that he has been, surprise, teaming up with what they think is the enemy. And the enemy are people who drive griffins. And that's the whole point of why there's dragons, is because they're there to fight griffins. But you find out the griffins aren't actually bad people. There's these mole people called the Vernon. And Violet's been reading about them her entire life, and she thinks they're just fairy lore. Surprise, surprise, they're real. And she is so pissed to find out that Zane not only knows about Vernon Real, but it's also teaming up with the people she's been ingrained with her entire life are the true enemies. And she's like, what the fuck are we doing? And he's like, oh, well, I've been supplying them with weapons, which they never explain where he got the weapons. Now that I'm thinking about it, they never explain where he got weapons, because the only way you can kill Vernon Vermin, I shouldn't say Vernon, it's Vermin. The only way you can kill Vermin is with a sword or some type of dagger that have engraved runes in them. They never explain, oh, you need silver swords or the swords material from the great mountains of blah blah blah. I think it just has to have the certain type of runes on them, and then you can kill the vermin. But again, they never explain where he gets the weapons, because he's doing dragon stuff. So how is he getting the weapons, and then how is he transporting the weapons? Anyway, the Griffin riders tell them, hey, there's attack on this town coming soon, so we gotta go. They get to the main. She's freaking out. You betrayed me. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. They get to the main location. The main location has instructions about the war games, but they have special ones for Xaden's crew because they know, surprise, surprise, he's a traitor. And they said, you have two options. You can either show your loyalty to us and just come home, or you can go save the filthy vermin people or go save the town that's being attacked by vermin people. And it's kind of a win-win for them. It's either one, you show your loyalty to dragon school people, or they get killed trying to save vermin, or they do end up saving the vermin or kill the vermin people, and then they get to kill you. It's kind of a win-win situation. So I'm pretty sure they don't care whether you live or die. Either show your loyalty or go kill some mole people. So of course they choose to go kill the mole people, and long story short, blah, 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 we lose some people, but Violet saves the day. But she goes through a burnout because she loses a lot of her power trying to kill people and try to save the town. She wakes up in what used to be Xaden's home. I think this is still his home, but it's rebuilt in his hometown. And when they killed his parents, I think they were supposed to bomb, or they did destroy his hometown and his home. But apparently that's still there. They never explained why no one watched it or how come he was able to go there so many times. Now that I'm thinking about it, because again, he's at dragon school and no one notices that he just takes off on this dragon to go to another abandoned town, and no one made sure the abandoned town never got built, because she wakes up and she's like, what the fuck is this? And he goes, oh, they blew this up years ago, so in their minds this is just flat destroyed land, so no one comes out here. I thought the whole point of having this military was to make sure the wards, which is supposed to be covered under the place that got bombed, was to make sure the wards cover the land and keep the people safe. So wouldn't this town technically be under the wards, technically be under their protection? So why wouldn't that land be monitored? Does that make sense? As I'm thinking more about this book, I'm getting more and more like, what the fuck? Plot holes. So anyway, she wakes up and he's like, I should have told you everything from the beginning. I'm sorry I lied to you. I'll tell you everything, but I need to know right now, are you in or out? And she says immediately, I'm in. I'm going to fight this war with you. Which made me like her even more, because my girl Feyre, she took a long time to decide if she's actually going to help Rhys. He came up and goes, war's coming. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. I should talk to Tamlin, and I don't really know you that well. And is it really a war? Like, what? Like, Violet was like, yep, I'm going to war. And she literally says, this is bigger than me and you. Whatever happens between me and you, it doesn't matter. There's people dying. And that is one thing I liked about Violet, is she's so decisive, and that makes me happy. I can't stand these wishy-washy girls. She's 100% decisive. And then out the door, and we find out that her long-lost dead brother is actually alive, and he's a healer, and he's a part of the revolution, and that's where the book ends. Here's my 2 points about this. Her brother's death caused her father, her scribe, mentor, and best friend, to go through a downward spiral through his health and then die. And they're saying he died of a broken heart because of her brother's death. And because of that, she was put into dragon school. And then Zane knew about this and didn't tell her. I'm not saying it's lying, because she never went to him and goes, hey, is my dead brother alive? Like, he wouldn't know this. So when you find out that the guy that you love not only is a liar of the revolution, is the leader of the revolution and lied about it, he knew your brother who caused your father to, I don't know, kill himself, get depressed. I don't know how her father died, but I would hate him even more. But here's the thing. He kept telling her, he's like, she told him. One of the reasons why I liked Violet, she told him, I love you. You told me not to fall in love with you and not to get attracted to you, but I am. I love you. I am attracted to you. I want to be with you. And he kind of dances around it. She goes through her burnout. She wakes up and he's like, we're going to fix this. She goes, I don't really want to fix things with the liar. And he goes, well, you love me, so you're going to get over it. And she goes, I don't really want to try and fix things because I can't trust you. And he goes, well, guess what? You love me, so get over it. Does he say, oh, and I love you too? No, he just keeps pointing out, you love me. You love me. You're going to get over it. Sorry, sucks. You're going to get over it. That's just how you are. You're going to get over it and we're going to fall in love. And I'm like, I'm not really down with that. Don't tell me how this is going to go, because I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. Last time I checked, I have the biggest, baddest dragon. I have no problem beating the shit out of you. That's just me. That was my short, choppy summary of this book. I give it I want to say like 2.5 stars out of 5, is because there was some points that I liked. I liked the vermin creatures as a bad guy because it's something I feel like it hasn't been, that I haven't read much about. And I like that it's just something different than what I've read before, because a lot of the bad guys are like vampires or, you know, like werewolves and stuff that I read. So or plague. I really liked that. I liked Violet. She makes the book a lot better. She's a badass. She's decisive. She doesn't take shit, and I like that. I like Zane because he's mysterious and a badass and sexy. And so when you're presented with old childhood boy next door flame or mysterious bad boy, I'm choosing mysterious bad boy every time. There's not even like, I don't even need to know his name. I'm choosing him. That's who I'm choosing. I like those two characters. Everyone else is forgettable. Everyone else is forgettable. I know people are going to come at me about Liam. Forgettable. He is 100% forgettable. The cute blonde guy that tries to like nobly save his best friend's girl. Forgettable. I feel like this book was really predictable with a lot of twists and turns, a lot of foreshadowing. You're like, it was completely obvious foreshadowing where you did see like, okay, okay, she is going to get. One thing that got me was they did talk about this golden dragon, how sweet and small it is. I'm like, oh, she's gonna get the small dragon. And they start talking about this big badass dragon, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna get that. She's gonna like, I went back and forth, like she's gonna get the small one or she's gonna get the big one. I never dawned on me that she could get both. So that got me. Besides that, this book I felt was really predictable, and it's something I've read before lots of times through just different variations, from Hunger Games to Divergent to even some ACOTAR stuff. Like it just, from Blood and Ash, I just felt like this book was really overhyped. The spice was good, but there's so many other books with more spice and greater spice. Even Zane's powers and ability, he sounds like he's a shadow singer. He sounds like Azriel, or he has the same powers as Reese. So to me, it just seems like they just took the favorite things from books we like and smashed it together, and then they sprinkle some dragons in it, like, oh, this is fantasy. Even though you can tell this wouldn't be fantasy. You don't get a lot of bonding and talking with the dragons. You don't get to learn like how these two were mated, how long they met, what happened to Tyrion's other rider. He died. So they never go into a backstory of how they met, how long he's been wanting to avoid riders, why he avoids riders. They never really talk about the dragons. The dragons are only there to like warn her about things or put some like sarcastic note when something happens. But we don't really get much about the dragons, and I think that could have been emphasized more. I'm not going to read this book again, but I might reread a couple passages from this book because I did enjoy a couple scenes, especially when Dane was like, show me your memory, and she's like, fuck you, I ain't showing you shit. So I did enjoy that. So here's the thing about the second book. This book came out in March. The second book is coming out in October. Now, I know that the author could have wrote these books consecutively together and it's like, you know, I'm going to break this up right here and then we'll just bring this out a couple months later. I get that. But I feel like the second book is going to be probably rushed and probably, I don't know, gonna be even lower than this. I could be wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love it for a second book to be better. There's series where the second book is better. One of those being ACOTAR. The second book is way better. So I would love for a second book to come around and make it better, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Overall, I think the hype for this book is, it's overhyped. It's so overhyped. There are other versions of this story that I think that were way better. I just don't, it's just this book was overhyped. And I know it's because they think Xaden is hot. One of the things that I'm not liking is all the fan art that's showing Xaden is he's white. And when I'm envisioning him, he is not white, because the description in this book tells you he is not white. He's tall with wind-blown black hair and dark brows. The line of his jaw is strong and covered by warm, tawny skin and dark stubble. When he folds his arms, blah, 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 he's super strong, blah, blah, blah. His eyes are the shade of gold-flecked onyx. So which means to me that he has black hair and warm, tawny skin. So why am I seeing fanfic of a white boy with swirls and a scar? Because if I wanted to see that, I can go see Reese. I can go see Azriel. Why am I not seeing true Xaden images? And then they also describe his cousin, who they say is a copy and paste version of his cousin, but slimmer. And in his cousin, guess what? Has brown skin. So why am I not seeing a true Xaden? That's what I want. I want a true Xaden. I don't want to see these white boys with pretty smiles. I want to see this rough and tough. He's supposed to be dark skinned. I want to see a football player hiking me across the hall. I know that we didn't agree on this book, because if you truly enjoyed this book and it brought you joy and happiness and it inspired you to read again, or you got a reading slump, or it's just something that brought you joy, I am so happy you found this book. If it brings you joy, please continue to read it. Read more books like it. Bring more joy and happiness. Anything to read. I'm 100% read whatever you like, and I'm happy for that. I did not enjoy this book. I will not understand the hype of this book, because I do think there's hotter and badder guys out there. But if this is something that you enjoyed, please, 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 please keep reading, read more books like it. We're just not going to agree. And I can tell you, we're not going to agree on a lot of things like Kingdom of Ash. So if you want to come back, vent with me, see my rants, become book besties or book enemies. We can always become enemies to lovers. I think that I'm going to have different opinions about most popular books than most people. I'm always down to talk about books. Let me know down in the comments if you agreed with me, if you didn't agree with me, if you think I'm too much. I know I am. But just let me know what your thoughts are too, so I'm not the only one that didn't like this book. So, see ya.